plays Beethoven's Fifth Symphony with sports announcers. Joining me on stage right now is the Grammy-winning discoverer of P.D.Q. Bach, the esteemed composer, humorist, and play-by-play announcer, Professor Peter Schickele.
Good evening, folks, and welcome once again to the wonderful wide world of notes. This is Pete Schickele.
And I'm Merrill Reese.
And we're talking to you from the Mann Center here on the next page. In Philadelphia, where in a few moments the Philadelphia Orchestra will be playing against Steven Reineke, who I believe is undefeated. Isn't that right?
That's right, Pete. It's a very important match for Reineke since a victory tonight will put him in the World 12-Tone Series at the Kimmel Center this spring.
Well, I suppose it's too early to tell which orchestra he'll be playing if he makes it, but would you care to make a guess?
Well, Pete, it's too early to tell which orchestra he'll be playing if he makes it, but I put my money on the Philadelphia Orchestra myself. They've thrashed just about every conductor who's come up against them for the last, let's say, 10 or 15 seasons. I think this year may very well be the year they make it to the top.
Now, how about Steven Reineke, Merrill? When was the last time a conductor had an undefeated season?
Glad you asked me that, Pete, because it was Leopold Stokowski. He was not only the last, he was the only conductor to have more than one undefeated season during his career. He went all the way in 1935. He did it again in 41. He did it in 55. That is a record, I think, that stands for quite a while. Now, of course, that only has to do with actual victories at the concert, not with concert recordings, and not many conductors are way ahead of Stokowski in the number of recordings.
Recordings, right. Okay, well, thanks, Merrill. Here comes the conductor now. Why don't you go over and see if you can get a word with Reineke and also with Juliet Kang, the captain of the Philadelphia Orchestra. He is a right-handed conductor. He's played 24 concerts so far this season, and as we mentioned before, he has won every one of them. And the Philadelphia Orchestra, they've had a pretty good year themselves. So far, they've won about 94% of the concerts they've played, which means they've made a lot of conductors sound better than they really are. Okay, let's go over to you, Merrill.
Okay, Pete, I am speaking with Juliet Kang. Juliet, you have had an amazing season. What do you attribute your success?
You know, Merrill, our new head coach this season has really pumped up our offense and our defense.
Thank you, Juliet. Steven, you are on a winning streak. This is a big, big night. Would you give us the keys to the game?
Well, I'll tell you, Merrill, it's very hard to be one of the greatest conductors in the world, maybe the universe even. And so I work out constantly.
Okay, Pete, back to you.
Okay, it looks like we're ready for the cheerleaders now. The referee is getting things together, and let's see what many people, this is a favorite part of the game. The referee is bringing the coach of the Philadelphia Orchestra and the opposing conductor together, and let's see who wins the toss. Boy, this is a cheap crowd. Nobody has a coin. Steven Reineke, the conductor, wins the toss, which means that he will be the one to start things off tonight. Although I don't think it'll take very long for this orchestra to catch up with them the way they've been playing this season. Okay, folks, I think we're all set. The conductor is ready to get up on the mound there. He's stepping up to the rubber. Both teams are in position, and the referee is getting ready. And they're off with a 4-note theme. And I don't know whether it's slow or fast yet because it keeps stopping. Doesn't seem to be able to get off the ground yet. But it does look like we're coming up to a cadence here, folks. The violins didn't cut off with the rest of the orchestra. I'm surprised they weren't called for holding. Now we're going on now, and it does look like we're maybe building up. Something's bound to happen here someday. Just cannot seem to get this piece off the ground. Tell me, would you call that 4-note idea theme or a motif?
Theme. That is a motif. A motif is used to build a theme.
I see. Thanks. Wow, did you hear that? Somebody in that horn section really flubbed that note. That was one of the worst fumbles in all my days. Have you ever heard anything like that, Merrill?
Oh, that was awful, Pete. You know, I'll tell you, somebody down there in the horn section really flubbed that note, and I don't know, I think it was Bobby Corno.
Yeah, I think the referee is going to make a ruling here. Maybe he's not going to make a ruling. The referee... Oh, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. The technology eludes me. We're going to have an instant replay on that. The referee has ruled in favor of the conductor, of course. He's slapped a 30-bar penalty on the offending horn player, who is now going over to the penalty box.
That is Bobby Corno in the first chair, all right. And that is the third major flub that he's made this season, giving him a solo average for the season of approximately 247, 255. That is pretty darn low for a first chairman.
You're so right. Do you think there's some chance he may be traded to another orchestra?
Well, it's hard to say, Pete. Corno was very good in the long solos, things like the Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto. So I think if he pulls himself together, they'll keep him around, although I suppose...
I think we're getting ready to start things off here again. The referee is coming over. I think this is the neatest referee I've ever seen. I studied with Martha Stewart. Okay, we're ready to get going here again. They're off again, and the orchestra is playing without its first horn, which means we can be looking for a power play from the conductor pretty soon. That's a pretty stiff penalty, isn't it, Merrill? 30
yes,
bars?
it is, Pete. Although these bars go by pretty fast, so it isn't really that much in terms of time. I think the longest that anybody ever stayed in the penalty box was when George Zell played with this very orchestra in 1955, and the entire French horn section spent the whole last movement in the penalty box. Of course, in spite of that, the Phillies came out on top.
They always do. Well, I think we're coming up to development section time. Let's see what's going to happen here. The horns are starting things off, and they seem to be in pretty good shape now. And I get the feeling we're going to be hearing a lot of that 4-note motif. Don't you, Merrill?
Yes, I do, Pete.
So do I, Merrill. Well, they're obviously going to be fooling around. Let's take a pause for station identification.
You're listening to the Philadelphia Orchestra play Beethoven. WRTI, Philadelphia.
Okay, we're back now. And there's something going on that stage. It's something happening. It's building up tension. The crowd is getting very excited. The brass is pounding. Oh, it looked like it was going to be a fugue there for a minute, but the bassist did not follow up. It is not a fugue. No, instead of a fugue, they seem to be taking that theme and breaking it up into little pieces. Just 2 notes left of that theme now being tossed around from player to player from section things up, a welcome relief, but I'm afraid to no avail. It's still pretty lethargic. So here they come again. They sound very determined. It sounds very familiar. And I do believe we've reached the recap, don't you, Merrill?
There is no doubt about it, Pete. Your average Beethoven symphony usually has a recap right after the second quarter, and this one is falling right in line.
Well, let's see if those violins can cut off with the rest of the orchestra. Hey, this time it's the oboe holding the note too long. Well, he's playing a cadenza. He must be out of his mind. He thinks it's an oboe concerto. The conductor is standing down there. He doesn't know what to do. Have you ever heard anything like that, Merrill?
I certainly haven't. I think it was a disgraceful display of lack of teamsmanship, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Highwood's name wasn't on this roster next season. Although I must say that the fans really seem to go for these bursts of temperament.
You're right, they do. Well, I always say, Merrill, professional music squads wouldn't exist without the spectator. Okay? It looks as if the referee is ready to make his ruling, and he has ruled in favor of the orchestra. How about that? The exact oboe cadenza was written in the part after all. And there's a delay of game penalty, a 34-bar penalty against Steven Reineke, who is now on his way over to the penalty box. And he'll be lucky to get back in time for the second theme. Well, I guess Highwood knew what he was doing.
He usually does, Pete. And this time he not only scored a personal solo, but he also made it possible for the orchestra to recover from Bobby Porto's fumble back there in the exposition.
That's right, Merrill. And now they're going to see if they can make up for lost time here. The referee is doing his house cleaning again, and now we're ready to resume play. Seems to be snowing. Okay, they're off again, and they seem to be doing pretty well. They're making up for lost time. Anyway, we're into the home stretch here with a second theme coming up, and we should be in C minor right up to the double bar. Reineke's coming back to the podium. Hey, wait a minute. This is really something, Merrill. The piece is billed as being in C minor, yet it looks like it's going to end in C major.
It's really something, Pete.
It's really something, Merrill. But it looks like it's going to be... What, we have something happen over there in the bass section. I think we may have an injury in the bass section. The first baseman is calling time, and the referee has blown the whistle.
Pete, it looks like a groin injury, Pete.
I think so.
That's what happens when the bases get too close together. You know, management is always trying to preserve space, especially in the bass section, which usually contains some of the biggest players on the club. And sometimes we squeeze them in just a little bit too close together, and this is the result. That's one counter bass over there, and he looks like he's in bad shape.
He does. We are going to be having a substitution here.
Yeah, it's been a bad year for counterbass, Pete, and in fact, it's been a bad year for this team. Injury-wise, this is counterbass's third injury, and the player they have sent to replace him is W.B. Vile, and he has already had a couple of injuries himself.
I think this is going to be a new ball game, Merrill. W.B. Vile is coming in. He's plugging in, which the rest of the base has never had to do. And he's warming up now, getting ready. He's a real trooper. He's up for whatever comes along. Oh, that's pretty close anyway. They're ready to resume play now. We're ready to pick up where we left off. The referee is, well, you know what he's doing. He's about to give the sign to Reineke to resume play. We're picking up right where we left off. The orchestra only has a few more bars to go before our first downbeat. Things are building up a little there. They've really gotten a hold of things. The brasses and the timpani and the woodwinds have come in, and it's tuning all the way, folks. They've got a great drive going on out there, and it looks like we're heading into the home stretch. I guess that about wraps it up, eh, Merrill?
Hey, it's been a great match.
A very good match. Wait a minute, the brasses are taking the theme. They are not letting it stop. They're taking the theme and running ahead. Merrill, this piece is definitely going to go into overtime. I can see that. And let me tell you that nobody knows what's going around. There's a lot of running around on the stage, but nobody knows where the theme is. Everybody's running around. It's very exciting. Nobody seems to be able to find the theme. They've got a new theme going on out there, Merrill. I can't believe it. Do you know where this new theme comes from?
Yes, Pete. It comes from...
I don't know. Well, thanks a lot, Merrill. They're tossing it around now. The woodwinds have it, and then the strings. Nobody seems to be able to keep his or her hands on that theme. It's getting tossed around from player to player, from section to section. And believe me, folks, the audience is just as confused as the players are about who has that theme. Okay, wait a minute. The strings have got a hold of it now. The strings have got a hold. They're not going to let go. What's this? I can't believe my ears. It sounds like another recap. It sounds like they're going right back to the beginning. If this is true, it would be the first time in 10 years. Wait a minute. Those do sound like final chords, though. We're watching the referee. That is it. That is the end of the match. Yes, sir, folks. That is the end of the match. Now I've got a few scores and updates from around the nation. In a stunning upset, the L.A. Phils trounced their longtime nemesis, Pickled Peppers, 9-1. What's next? Jimmy Levine is off the injured list, of course, and he easily shut out the North by Northeast South Carolina Metropolitan Philharmonic Symphony Orchestra Association Ensemble 10-0. This just in, the Honolulu Symphony, in an effort to attract younger audiences, has restructured itself as a bowling alley. And finally, yesterday afternoon, the entire viola section of the Detroit Symphony was auctioned off, reducing the city's debt by $17.
Well, folks, that just about does it. It was a real exciting bout, and we can look forward to a great rematch between these two powerhouse contestants.
You're so right, Merrill. In the meantime, stay tuned for the World Heavyweight Operatic Championship, with Placido Domingo taking on upstart Bon Jovi at the Met. So this is Peter Schickele
And Merrill Reese
signing off for the wonderful wide world of notes. Bye now.